Friends, welcome to yet another video in our series Finance and Investing Tidbits. The theme of this video is we should trust the Indian economy more than any institution in India. Now, this is to say the obvious. However, this simple understanding has a profound impact on our return potential. And that's the reason I have created this video. So welcome to this interesting video. This is a little long video. I have also shared some data points with you, but I'm sure this will actually open your mind to a very different possibility in terms of returns. Investors are naturally very concerned about the safety of their hard-earned money. They would, really do a lot of diligence before they put money to work in any institution. I mean, a bank. They would think twice. They would actually, go and have discussions, derive comfort from the branch staff. So they try and read a lot. They discuss that with others just to check whether the bank in which they have put their deposits is doing reasonably well. And this is a concern which is very, very understandable. So while savers do a lot of diligence, which bank or NBFC to put deposits in, unfortunately, they forget the best place to invest. Let's explore that. Any bank or an NBFC would survive only if the economy survives, only if the economy thrives. Thus, the best place to invest is the economy itself. Now the question is, how do we invest in an economy? Since we can't directly invest in an economy, we have to think of using a surrogate, something which is a very good representation of the economy itself. Another thought process that we need to also seriously think of is that when we keep deposits with a bank or an NBFC, we're not actually an investor. We are a lender of money. We of course never carry that aura when we visit a bank branch, right? We simply are treated as a depositor. We are actually lending money to the bank. My submission is, don't be a money lender, be an investor. By being an investor, it will give you far better returns than bank deposits or banks would ever deliver. So let us say the Indian economy grows at 7% per annum and there is inflation of 4.5%, right? So I'm talking about 7% real growth, and on top of that there is say 4.5 to 5% inflation. Currently, of course, the inflation globally is very high, but I'm leaving that aside. So the nominal growth in the economy is actually multiplication of 1.07 and 1.045. 1.07 stands for that 7% and 1.045 stands for that 4.5%. We should not simply add those two numbers, but we should rather multiply them and then reduce 1 to get the correct answer in terms of nominal growth, because one growth is on top of the other and not an addition. So therefore, the nominal growth in the economy will work out to 11.8%. Now, if the economy is growing at 11.8%, great companies would grow at a much faster rate due to their ability to gain market share, also to leverage their strength of technology and brands. Thus, if we use a surrogate to invest in the economy, we can actually generate returns which are even better than the economy itself. So no wonder stock market has given returns of 13 to 16% over long periods. I am using the 13% range to be a little more conservative. As I'm going to share some data with you in later part of this video, actually we have generated returns of 16% over years. But let's assume it on the safer side to be 13 to 16%. So the question arises, why should we become a money lender by lending money at 5.5% and 6% and letting some bank make money on it. We should rather become an investor and generate much superior returns. So here are some data points for your consideration. Here there are two tables. Table 1 is talking about the size of the Indian economy. In 2002-2003, the size of India's economy, the GDP, was 25,36,327 crores. In 2020-21, which was a bad year because of COVID, the economy had almost become 8 times in those 18 years to 1 crore 95 lakhs 86,000 crores. Now, if you actually arrive at the rate of growth using the compounding principle, which we all learned in the school, we will actually find the growth rate to be 12%, very similar to that 11.8% that I was talking about earlier in this presentation. And during this period, a surrogate for the Indian economy, which we can call as Nifty 50, which represents the top 50 companies, and that index, which was on 31st of March 2003, 978, by 31st of March 2021, grew to 14,690.7. Now that's a growth rate of 16.2%. Naturally, Nifty has grown at a rate faster than the economy because Nifty represents the top 50 companies, and naturally they will have a better ability to grow. Let's look at some more data. Similar data, but now extended to 21-22. 22-23 may even look better. So here we find that the growth for a 19-year period in the Indian economy was 12.46%. Not 12% that we saw a little earlier, because 2020-21 was a bad year because of COVID. 31st March 2003, Nifty was 978 as we had seen earlier, but 31st of March 2022, it had grown to 17,464.7. Of course, it has corrected since then because of the Russia-Ukraine war and the surge in global inflation, tightening of rates, etc. But if you look at that 19-year period, the growth was 16.38%. And I'm sure after these clouds of war and the global inflation and tightening of supply chains, once those clouds are gone, we will surely see a bounce back in the Indian market. The Nifty index, which has corrected from 17,464 to 15,400, 15,500, very, very significantly, again would go back on a growth path. Thus, investing in an index fund which invests in top 50 companies, an index fund Nifty 50 plan, is a great way of investing in the Indian economy itself. As I mentioned earlier, Nifty 50 acts as a surrogate, as a good sample or representation of the Indian economy, while providing us good safety, because we know that our investment is going in the top 50 companies in India. Yes, investors do get scared of fluctuations in stock market, particularly the steep falls that happen once in a while, like what we saw during the COVID times or what we saw during the Lehman Brothers crisis. In fact, the COVID fall was far steeper than what happened during Lehman Brothers crisis, and it took much less time to destroy the wealth. But in case we are able to manage our mind monkey well, if we are able to manage our fear well, then it's just a matter of time that the markets will bounce back again. And when the markets bounce back, we will surely see significant gains. So what we need to be careful is, while this provides us a very good potential, we should be willing to take the risk of steep falls that may happen really once in a decade. But during that time also, if we are able to keep our cool, and like I created on April 4, 2020, in the thick of the start of the COVID pandemic, a video after my own portfolio had declined by more than 50%, to say how that's a great opportunity to buy, and I put balance cash which was available with me gradually into the stock market, and that has really helped me in terms of generating superior returns. So as far as we are able to manage our mind monkey, we can actually generate very good returns by simply investing in the economy. The good thing about stock markets is that once the short-term problems are solved, market begins its onward march again, and we should actually uh, take advantage of that by staying invested during difficult times. Thus, once we realize the nature of the markets, where they tend to oscillate and go away from the reality, both when there is a lot of fear and when there is a lot of greed, we can manage our mind monkey very well and generate far superior returns to time deposits. Your returns are far better and the risk is directly on the economy and hence far lower than taking a risk on a specific bank or an NBFC. Stop lending money to a bank or an NBFC. Invest in the economy. Invest in its best surrogate, the Nifty 50. Thank you so much.